If they give you a hard time about you taking time off and not covering them 24/7, then perhaps that's not the right patient for you. That's part of being a business person, is be prepared to hear no most of the time. Usually what I will say is, I love you, you're my family, or you're my friend, but you're not my patient, and I can't treat you because you're not my patient. And this is to keep you safe, because I cannot be objective because you are my family or you're my friend. You will not be able to sustain your practice. You won't be able to continue if you don't set boundaries, because that's just, if you don't have any boundaries, then you're just going to burn out again.
Welcome to DPC Life, the podcast where independent doctors share real stories, bold ideas, and the freedom of doing medicine on your own terms. I'm your host, Dr. Ann Gonzalez, and together we'll explore the wins, the struggles, and everything in between. Let's dive in.
Hi, and welcome back to DPC Life. I'm your host, Dr. Ann Gonzalez, family medicine physician in Hickory, North Carolina, DPC since 2021, and also founder of Harmony Ops for DPC. This episode is a question and answer session that I did with a group of doctors who are either looking at DPC or have recently opened their DPC. The questions they asked are ones that I hear very frequently. Are you ever actually off? Can you have a niche? What does growth even look like in the first few months? What is normal growth? And then how do you handle family and friends who want free medical advice? I'm releasing this one now because if you're in that pre-launch window, these are probably your questions too. One thing I will mention before we get into it, at the end, you'll hear me talk about a program called Independent Practice Path, which is not available currently, but what I am building right now for pre-launch doctors and early stage doctors is different. If that is you, stay until the end of the episode and I will tell you more about it and where to go.
Okay, so if anyone has questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat. We'll go ahead and get started since there's a few of us here now. Yay! All right, well, thanks everyone for coming in. I'm Ann Gonzalez, family medicine doctor in Hickory, North Carolina. Been DPC since 2021, and I have enjoyed every bit of it, but definitely at the beginning it was very scary. We just kind of were like, what are we doing? But here we are. It's 4.5 years later, and we are still open, so that is a good thing. But definitely with DPC, I learned about DPC in 2013, and we didn't open until 2021. When I heard about DPC, I had 3 young children, and there were definitely no resources like there are now. We have so many books, we have so many podcasts and guides and things that are available, but that wasn't available then. So if I had known about it, if I'd had those kind of resources, then I might have considered actually doing it sooner. And one thing that a lot of doctors say, almost everyone that goes into DPC, they say, I wish I had done it sooner. And so that is why I am doing this, to try and help people get out of fee-for-service sooner, because it's a zoo out there, right? It's a jungle. So great, Alejandra has dropped a question. So yes, drop your questions in the chat. I got a couple online and I'll try to answer those too. So we'll do this we'll do questions till about 12:40. And then if it's okay with everyone, I'm just going to share what I'm doing to try and help doctors get out of fee-for-service and into their own DPCs. Well, since Alejandra did have a question here. Oh, this is a really common one. Okay, so Alejandra asked, a question I have, given that running your own practice is a business, do you ever truly feel like you're off? I worry about the added stress of running a business and feeling guilty for taking time away or not having anyone to cover for me when I'm away. So this is a super, super common question, and it does hold people back because they think that if they're by themselves in a micro practice and it's just them, that it is 24/7. You know, they're on call 24/7, which that is not, I don't recommend that for anybody. That is not good. So yes, in a way, you don't ever truly feel like you're off, in the sense that when you have a business, it's like a baby. You just think about it constantly. That's just how it is. But you also have to create your own boundaries. And so when people start out, I always tell them that they need to figure out how they want their practice to be. So start the way you want to finish. Do you want to work 3 days a week in clinic? Do you want to just do telehealth, home visits? Do you want to do a combination? Do you want to be in the office every day? Do you want to work 9 to 3? And then, think about your situation, because some people have young children right now, but if you continue with your DPC, when they are older, how are you going to structure your days? And so that's definitely one of the things I tell people when they start out. Try to start the way you want to finish. And when you create your schedule, it's always easier to pull back time as opposed to adding time. So if you open your schedule and it's very open, then it's easier to pull that back as opposed to later on trying to add time. I hope that makes sense. But so when you schedule, when you're in practice, you don't want to be doing all the time seeing patients from 8 to 5. You need time to work on your business. And so, do you ever feel like you're off? Not really, but the thing is, when you have patients and you have a small practice, they know that you are a solo doctor. They know that you can't do this 24/7. And so if you're lucky enough to be in an area where there are multiple DPCs, it's great to know the other DPC doctors in your area so that when you need coverage, you all can provide coverage. You can cover for somebody when they're away and then vice versa. And so that's really nice to have. A lot of EMRs will give you kind of like extra logins for temporary use, for example, if you're going away and you need someone to cover for you. So that's a really nice perk for a lot of them. But so if you have other DPC doctors around you, great. Try to get to know them so you can cover for each other. Another thing you can do is if you're going to be away, like when we go to the beach in the summer, we go away for a week every summer. And I always tell people about a month ahead, I'm going to be going to the beach. If you need anything, tell me now. Please ask for your refills now. If you have anything that can't wait until I get back, let me know. I will be gone this week, X dates. If you need something urgent, I do have partners. I have a partner and we have a nurse practitioner so they can cover. But even still, you can say, if it's an emergency, if you're by yourself, if it's an emergency, go to the urgent care, go to the emergency room. Don't think a lot of patients will fault you for that. And if they give you a hard time about you taking time off and not covering them 24/7, then perhaps that's not the right patient for you. You want to set this out at the beginning. You want to tell people this is how it works. So it's very important to set the expectation. So I hope that answered that question. Let's see. And I got a question from a pediatrician, and she was asking about niches in DPC. So she has a focus on, I know she said pandas, MCAS, a couple other things. I can't remember offhand, but she wasn't sure which way. Should she go concierge or should she go DPC? Is it possible to have something like this, like a more niche practice in DPC? And yes, absolutely, you can. Dr. Noemi Adame, she is the owner of Culver Pediatrics in Culver, Indiana. She is a DPC pediatrician, and a lot of her patients right now are PANDAS patients, and they come from all over the country. So she is a pure DPC. She does not bill insurance. If you decide to do a practice with a niche like this, but then do concierge, now some concierge practices, they do bill insurance as well. Some don't. Majority of them do. And so if you do a concierge practice focusing on these special needs, then you will have to still deal with insurances. And that's one of the perks of being a DPC doctor, is that you don't have to deal with insurance. You kind of have to pick your battles. Which one would you prefer? But you can absolutely have a niche. At our practice right now, we do regular primary care, but we also have different service lines. So we serve menopausal women. We do a lot of hormone consults because there aren't a lot of doctors in our area that are doing hormone replacement therapy. So we have that. And then we also have weight management. And we also do cardiometabolic evaluations. So we have little niches, but DPC, if it's your business, you can do what you want to with it. So if that's how you want to run it and you want to focus on those patients, you absolutely can. Now, what you need to do, though, is make sure that your messaging is very direct to those kinds of patients. So if you are a pediatrician and you want to focus on pandas, for example, then your messaging can't just say, I'm a pediatrician, and you don't want to imply that you're seeing everyone, because if you want to see those patients, they won't feel called out. So you want to definitely put that in your messaging. I treat patients with pandas, or I treat neurodivergent children, or whatever it is. But you want to put that out there and make sure you're calling those people out, because otherwise they will not feel like you are talking to them. So it's really important to do that. Awesome. Alejandro, thank you for asking questions. Are procedures typically included in membership or an added charge? Again, it's your practice, so you can decide how you want to do it. Some places will include it. We don't actually charge, for example, a knee joint steroid injection. We don't charge for the procedure itself, but we do charge $25 for the catalog and cover the costs of the syringes and all. And then that's I call it put on their tab for their monthly membership fee. So that's what we do for that. Shave biopsies, I don't charge for the procedure. Punch biopsies, we don't charge for it. If they have insurance, then the pathology will go under their insurance. So we don't have anything really to do with that. But if they don't have insurance, then we'll do a cash pay price. And so that way it'll be kind of a client billed situation. All right. Another question that I got was from Dr. Omo Oni. She does a lot of social media. And I don't know if you've seen her social media, but she's great. But she asked, how do you grow outside of social media? So there's a lot of different things that you can do outside of social media. I think right now, social media is a great way to grow your practice because it's free. You can be on camera like this. You can put still photos up and talk over it. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can do social media. But there are a lot of ways to reach people without it. Number one is just networking in person. And I know a lot of doctors aren't very comfortable with it because you've never had to actually go out and promote your practice before. So it's a learned skill for sure. And it's hard to get used to it because one, you have to make sure that your messaging is correct. Like I was talking about, you want to make sure that you are talking to that person, and you'll have to learn how to read the room. You have to figure out, are these people more focused on the cost? Are they focused on the price and the cost savings? And why would I spend more if I am paying for insurance already, for example? So that's one kind of audience. Then there are people who are frustrated with the system. They're tired of being seen by somebody different every time they go to their, family practice or internal medicine. There's a new PA, it's somebody else. They never get to see their doctor. Or they're rushed 5-10 minutes with the doctor, or they wait forever in the waiting room. So that's another kind of group that you have to tailor your elevator pitch to. So definitely networking in person, and that can be going to health fairs. It can be going to the Chamber of Commerce and getting involved there. It can be getting involved with a BNI. So BNI is another kind of networking group where they have different industries. So like you may have one doctor and one plumber and one roofer and one insurance person. So the idea is to refer back and forth to each other to build your businesses. BNI is a little bit more involved. Like you have to go every week, but can be worth it. And then things like health fairs. You can go to health fairs. And that's a really nice way to get new patients and at least to get attention. Because when you go to a health fair, if you go, you can have like some sort of raffle. Doesn't matter what you're raffling off. If it's like an Amazon gift card or, I don't know, Starbucks gift card, something. Put the fishbowl out, tell people to fill out the name and stuff. And then that way you have their information. So when you think about social media, if you think about TikTok and what happened to TikTok, 6 or 8 months ago, where it was like gone for a day or two and then, oh no, it's back. Well, that can happen to any social media platform. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, Threads, any of those, they could be gone at any point. So all of those followers that maybe you gained could be gone. So it's really good to have your own email list. So when you go out networking, if you go to a health fair, for example, and you get someone to sign up for a raffle, you get their email address. So you want to build your email list because that one is yours. No one can take that away from you. And that way you have people that you can reach out to regularly to say, hey, this is what we're doing at the practice. You can send them a monthly newsletter if you want. You can send them an email when there's something new that you're offering at your practice. Or if you have somebody new joining your practice. Or you just want to reach out and tell them about updates, like for pneumonia vaccines, for example. And that's yours. So you can contact them. And with people sometimes people feel uncomfortable about emailing a lot. And I pretty much tell people, just email until they tell you to stop. It feels like you're bombarding them. And honestly, a lot of times they don't see it. Think about your email inbox, like my inbox. It makes my husband crazy because he'll see all these unread messages. And either I don't read them, or I just delete the ones I haven't read and just toss them. So odds are they may not have seen your email. So if you just continue to send emails, that's a good thing. It's really not bad. The other thing is if you have a new email address and say that it's new, maybe you've sent a couple of emails out, but then you got a list from your previous practice, if they were nice enough to give you a whole list of emails of your patients, and then you plug in those 1,000 patients or whatever, and then you send 1,000 emails out, odds are most of those are going to go into spam because you didn't warm up your email. And Google and Outlook, all of these things, they have bots that they test and they see, how many people are you emailing? Have you ever emailed before? If you've never emailed before, they're like, you might be a spammer. And so then that's why those emails go into the spam folder. So what you want to do is start slowly. So do 20, 30, 50, maybe in the first week. And then the next week do 100, maybe 200, and then gradually ramp up. And when you send those emails for that first week, what you want to do is send it to people that like family, friends, and then ask them, please look for my email, open it, you read it, and then if you can, reply. Because that sends signals to those bots that, okay, this email has some information in it that's valuable and people want to read it. And then you're more likely to land in somebody's inbox that way. So when you start an email address, I would do that. Yeah. So the original question, how to grow outside of social media? Yeah, so your email list and then networking. And the other thing about networking is when you do meet people, for example, don't expect that after meeting them one time, you tell them about DPC, that they're going to come back and join your practice. Because people are busy. Everyone's busy. They forget. So what you need to do is if you have their email or you have their phone number, you need to reach out. You need to be reminding them all the time that you're there because they'll forget. And if you don't remind them, then that's it. They're gone. So you want to continue to reach out to them. Thank you, Catherine, for your question. Do you do a charity care, sliding scale, or free clinic work in your DPC or outside of your DPC to see more of a variety or social economic statuses? That's a great question. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of people, when they start DPC, they are very concerned about their patients who are economically challenged, which is fair because we are asking people to pay out of pocket when they could go to a doctor and use their insurance. Or if they don't have insurance, we are still asking them to pay. Because, again, you're the boss. You can decide to do this however you want to. So you can either, if you have a free clinic, for example, in your town, you can just always decide to go volunteer there. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from doing that. That's up to you if you want to do that. But then there are people who have developed, they've opened a 501c3 branch of their practice to offer really free, charity care. And they have application processes. It's a nonprofit. And so then, of course, if it's a nonprofit, then you have a board of directors. It gets a little complicated, but it's a great way to do that. The other option is a sliding scale. So if you have someone that you want them to still be part of your practice, but you know that they can't afford it, you can always offer them a reduced rate. I mean, that's up to you. It's your practice. No one has to know. I would just tell them, please don't share this with anyone that I'm doing this. You can decide what you want to do. You can decide the amount that you want them to pay. So at our practice, I have patients anywhere from, we've got patients from like $10 a month up to our regular lowest amount tier membership is $65. So anywhere from $10 to $65. I've got some on $50 and some are $40, and I don't really remember how we came up with that, but yeah, so you have the option of doing that. That is your prerogative totally to give discounted memberships. And you don't want to give so many though that you're not able to make the money that you need to stay open. So I would try to be very select about it. Another option is, I've heard, I can't remember who it is, they have I think they have just like a jar where they say, hey, if you have extra money and you want to donate to somebody's membership, just toss it in the jar. It's not tax deductible or anything because it's not organized nonprofit, but people can do that. And I've also heard of other people who, for people who are well off and want to provide more, care for someone else, then they'll just pay for like 2 memberships. Again, it's not tax deductible because it's not 501c3, but that's another option. If you decide that you want to try and do that, you can absolutely do that. The thing about having applications is it gets a little bit hard to figure out. You really have to be very careful about how you decide who you're going to offer these scholarships to, because you want to be fair about it. So that's why we just don't even deal with that. We just kind of say, this is what it is. Please don't tell anyone else. All right, let's see. If you have any other questions, just drop them in the chat. Let's see.
Can I just ask them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or do I make?
No. You go right ahead, please.
I had a question about like growth rate and what that is supposed to look like or what it should look like. I left my employed position at the end of February, and I'm doing like for the month of March, just doing enrollments, and then I'm opening in April. And I've already have like 8 patients signed up, which I don't know what I was expecting. So I think that's pretty good. There was a lot right in the first week, and then it's just been kind of like slow, and then it was sort of crickets, and now it's kind of trickling in a little. So I don't know. I guess just what would you say as far as growth rate? I don't know what to expect.
Yeah, that's really hard. It's hard to say because everyone's area is different. It's really hard to say. I think 8 is really good though for 1 month. That's not bad. You've got 2 a week. And again, it depends on how much you have marketed, how much you've advertised, how you've done it, how much social media, how much networking in person. I know you've done some. So I think that's why you've gotten those 8.
Yeah, most of them have been patients that have followed me from, well, actually, no, probably only half.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe
Okay.
more. Yeah, previous patients that followed me from my practice. And then, yeah, there are a few new ones.
So how did those new ones find you?
Honestly, I think mostly through our church community.
Okay. Well, that's a great resource then. Absolutely. Yep. So is it possible that you can talk to a group of people at church about your practice?
Yeah. So
Did you already do that?
So yeah, so he actually just keeps sharing everything that I put up.
Awesome.
So he's been he's been really helpful in like telling people. So I had a couple of people sign up and go, I know I've never met you, but come in and you're great. And
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So it's nice. So he's been really helpful in that way, but we've known him for a long time. I have run into that where they'll be, oh yeah, but then I still have to pay and I already have insurance. And sometimes, I don't know, I try not to be, yeah, the insurance is terrible.
It's hard.
Relatable and say, yes, but you'd have a direct access. I kind of just tell them, I try to touch on those pain points. And sometimes they're still really hyper focused on that.
Yes.
I have to pay extra. And then I kind of go, okay, I don't think this is
Right.
going to be,
Yeah.
this might not be for them. But
Right. Yeah, and it isn't. And that's definitely one thing you have to learn. And I think we talked about it, initially, you're going to get your feelings hurt a lot hearing no. But that's part of being a business person is be prepared to hear no most of the time. And after a while, you get used to it. And you just start to really make peace with the fact that this is not for everybody. It really isn't. And you want to be able to treat everyone, but they don't all want it.
Yeah.
There's certain people that do, though. And so those are your people.
One more thing about Andra's question for being always on. I have a similar concern or fear. And I think, and when you and I spoke a few months ago, I was kind of like, can I just take a day off a week that I'm just out of touch? So I actually built that into my patient agreement and into my contract.
Good.
And I tell everybody up front, Sundays, my phone's going to be off. I'm not going to look at this line.
Yep.
So if you have something urgent, go to the urgent care. Otherwise, we can talk on Monday. And so far, everyone seems like, yeah, absolutely. You have a family and you work by yourself. Like,
Yeah.
I'm, initially I was not apologetic about it, but kind of, I'm taking, this is what I'm doing. And, the reaction has always just been,
yes,
yeah, that's perfect. That's fine.
Yeah.
So
it is, if you don't think it's fair, I mean, that's just not a reasonable human being.
actually, it's true. It's a good litmus test. Yeah.
Yeah, so if anyone's, oh, well, I'm paying you for this, and then you can just go, you know what, I don't know if this is the right fit for you. Rather cut them loose now than later when, after a while, after they've been bugging you for a while. Yeah. So that is definitely something when you start, and actually that's what I was going to share with people that came today, is you want to set your expectations from the beginning. And so one thing that one of the established docs shared with us when we opened is a whole handout for people to use in their practice to say, this is how we communicate. So during office hours, you can call, you can text, you can portal message. If it's after hours and it's emergency, please do this. Or if it's something that can wait till the next morning, please message on the portal, because if it's not an emergency, we're not going to respond to that. But then also realize that some people think things are emergencies and you may not think they're an emergency. So there's that too. But in just a minute, I have to pull it up, but I'll put that in the chat. I have a link to what we use. And so you are welcome to take it and just copy paste, take out whatever our stuff and change it for whatever you do. But that's one thing you want to have as part of your welcome packet, is to give it, either hand it out to them as handout, or in an email, or somehow get it to them, just so that they have that for reference, that this is how it works. And that way, if people get upset about, you're not responding to me immediately, then you can say, well, remember when we talked about the expectations for the practice, this is how it works. I check my messages at the end of the day, or I check them in the middle of the day and the end of the day, and I try to get back to everyone within X number of hours. So expectations are really key. And expectations and boundaries, which, again, boundaries are another thing that we went into medicine because we want to serve people and we are people pleasers, but the boundaries are huge. You will not be able to sustain your practice. You won't be able to continue if you don't set boundaries, and then you keep the boundaries. It's not just setting them, but you want to stand by them, because that's just, if you don't have any boundaries, then you're just going to burn out again. And that's just what's going to happen. So, yeah. Hi, Casey. Thanks for your question. You offer aesthetics, weight loss, and adding hormone therapy, all cash pay. Interested in adding telehealth and urgent visits. Is there an EMR you recommend? Also, with the respect to insurance, you can also offer super bills. So, yay for you doing aesthetics and weight loss and all that. We do aesthetics as well. I find it to be brutal. I don't know about you. It's a tough business. It's enjoyable, but it's tough. EMR what do you use now for your EMR?
Currently, I do paper charts.
Ah, okay. So,
and I like paper charts.
I know, right? There is something about them, for sure. It really depends. I mean, Personally, we use Serbo, which is, it was developed as a functional medicine EMR. So I would say, as far as off, all these different things that you're offering, it might be a good fit for you. Atlas is another EMR that I probably would not recommend for what you're doing, just because it's a pretty simple EMR. I mean, it works great for DPC. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just EMRs probably have more of what you will need, because you'll need ways to kind of, segment your patients. Yeah, I think my DPC story, Dr. Marielle Conception, she did like a survey of doctors last year of all the EMRs and what they liked about it and what they didn't like about it. So if you go to mydpcstory.com, you should be able to find that comparison there. And you can look at all the different ones. But all of them, pretty much, you can do a demo. So I think there's 5 or 6 different EMRs now that are really kind of directed at the direct primary care space. So you can do the demos. I would just demo all of them and see which one really fits with the way that you think. That's kind of what a lot of people say, like, does it fit your brain? So I would just demo all of them. And then you said...
Do you use this? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Do you use a separate EMR for your aesthetics? A separate type of EMR?
Right now, we are actually transitioning because our photos were everywhere. Are you doing pictures? The storage of the photos was really hard because we had them in different places, and like, it was on one phone, and it's really not good. It was not great. So we just started with RX Photo, and RX Photo is more of just a photo storage kind of situation, so that you can do like side-by-side pictures, before and afters, so you can show people, but you also can do notes in there. And they don't have to be complicated. You can kind of, if you have an iPad, you can kind of scribble on the iPad kind of thing, which I think that's what we're going to start doing, is take all of our aesthetic notes and just do them there along with the pictures. And we'll see how that goes. I don't love that we have a separate one. It's still, even though I think Serbo does okay with aesthetics, it's still not great. And I don't know that there's any one that's perfect for it, But yeah, that's what we started doing. And let's see, you mentioned also about insurance and super bills. Was that?
Super bills, yeah. The practice I used to be at was mainly a cash-based practice as well. And we would give super bills for those people that had insurance. As long as it was detailed enough, they could turn that into their insurance. And so having an EMR that actually will produce a super bill is really key.
Yeah, I think not really. I haven't tried to do a super bill in Serbo, but I'm pretty sure you could, because it does a lot of the coding, like it has a lot of the codes in there. So I'm pretty sure you could do it. As far as DPC, I think a lot of people really recommend not doing that for DPC. It's probably, now that the Big Beautiful Bill passed and you can use your HSA up to $150 a month for DPC membership, then that's already a great benefit. You can probably do a super bill in Serbo. And I think probably some of the other ones, I don't know about Atlas, but maybe Hint, I think you probably can. And maybe Acute or Sigma, and maybe Elation. But best way to find out is to just demo them. All right. Hello, Teja. How are you? Thanks for your question. Okay. So, let's see. We got a couple pieces here, so I'll do one at a time. How to handle extended family members and friends who may not be interested in joining DPC, thinking you are family or friend, and ask medical questions frequently. Yeah, that's hard. That happens to everyone, doesn't it? Yeah, this is one of those boundaries. You got to stay strong. Usually what I will say is, I love you, you're my family, or you're my friend, but you're not my patient, and I can't treat you because you're not my patient. And this is to keep you safe, because I cannot be objective because you are my family or you're my friend. And they might get their feelings hurt and not want to talk to you, but that's just, that's how I approach it. I think it's just best that way to kind of keep that boundary. I'll read it out loud. Do you suggest taking the membership for them, reduced price? How do you manage boundaries when requests stay simple, refills, quick opinions, versus when you're essentially becoming their PCP? Where do you draw the line between being helpful and taking on full physician responsibility without a formal patient relationship? Yeah, that's hard. If you want to have your family and friends as DPC members, I mean, we have that. We live in a pretty small town, so we do have friends who are patients, and luckily they do respect the boundaries. We haven't had to deal with anyone overstepping those and trying to abuse that relationship, luckily. I feel like maybe family members might be worse. But how do you manage the boundaries when requests stay simple? I think probably this is an expectations thing. So the first time that they start asking you, can you do this for me? If it's really a pinch and you want to be nice and do it, I mean, that's up to you, obviously. But you can say, well, because this is a blankety blank situation, I'll do it for this time because you can't access your doctor or whatever. Or you can just go ahead and set that expectation saying, I don't feel comfortable doing this because you are not my patient. And I don't think that I can be objective treating you. If you're already enmeshed in that, I'm sorry. But yeah, I think probably, drawing the line at the beginning before things kind of develop. Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone, for your questions. It's 12:45. And so I just wanted to speak real quickly about how I'm helping doctors with getting out of that thinking about DPC situation and through the transition into actually opening their practice. So I'm not going to take too long for this, but I'm just going to show you this one thing. Okay. So I've thought a lot about this, and I've thought about how do practices grow. And the thing about DPC, people wonder, am I going to have patients follow me? Number one. And they worry about having patients when they open, which there's a lot of reasons why people don't have patients when they open, and there's a lot of ways to get patients before you open. So number one, of course, is talking about it. If you don't talk about it, no one's going to know. And you just have to get used to talking about it. There's different ways to talk about it, but you just have to get used to saying the same thing over and over again so that it becomes second nature. It's just like breathing, so that when someone asks you a question, you don't get all tripped up and like, oh, and we can see you anytime, and you can call on the phone, and oh, we do labs, and we do medicines. It just comes out jumble. So that's one of the things that we go through in this program that I'm doing, the Independent Practice Path, is really trying to nail down your messaging. So if you have a niche or if you're seeing everyone, but still trying to figure out who is your ideal patient, who do you want to see. So this is a diagram that I came up with about how practices get patients. And I call it the 4 R's. So each section, so reach, resonate, respond, and retain. It's a circle. It's like a whole ecosystem. And people can enter sphere from different areas, but they all go together. They all feed into each other. So that's the 4 R's of how practices get patients. But within the practice, what the physician does and what they need to do in order to make that work is what's on the inside of this diagram here. So the actions, that is going out to the Chamber of Commerce, going out to health fairs, BNI, doing things, social media. That's how you reach people. So that's the first thing. Second, clarity, that's about your message. So making your message very, very clear about who you help and how you help them. And also being clear with different audiences. So some people, like I said, they are more focused on the money. I'm already paying for insurance. Why do I pay you more? And some are focused on, I can't get in with my doctor. I never see the same person. So you want to be very, very clear and dialed in about your message. And then respond. That's your systems. And systems and automations, especially if you are a micropractice, that's what's going to save your sanity, because there's no way for you to keep everything in your head and to answer everyone manually, because there's just too much. When you are in DPC, you're by yourself. All of the boundaries that surrounded you when you were in private practice, when you were in employed practice, all of those boundaries are gone. So now it's nothing between you and your patient, which is what you wanted, but it's also makes things more difficult because now you're not only the physician, you're the secretary, you're the janitor, you are the lab person, you're the pharmacist, you're everything. And there's just too much. So whatever there is that is busy work that you can automate, try to do that. So that is your systems, and that's how you respond to questions and how you respond to inquiries and how you respond to, do you take my insurance? Like that question you're going to get asked 10 times a day. And then after that, accountability. This is also with systems, but then how do you retain your patients? And that is partly that boundary setting, making sure that your expectations are clear and what they can expect from you and what you expect from your patients. And that's how you retain your patients. That's how you keep them. And then when you retain your patients, then they refer other people to you. So that is my practice engine, practice momentum flywheel. So the program goes through all of that. We're starting on next Tuesday, so that's the 24th. It's an 8-week program. We meet once a week on Tuesday evenings. I tried to stay away from evenings, but because a lot of the people that are going to be in the program are still employed, it's hard to do like daytime meetings just because they're working and have no control over their schedule. So we'll do this for 8 weeks. Throughout the whole system, you're going to learn how to tailor your message to different audiences, how to say it, you're going to practice it. You're going to start building your systems because we're going to use Harmony Ops, my CRM, to get your systems going so that you can start collecting emails, you can start sending out messages, you can start posting social media on multiple platforms that way. And then by the end of it, you're going to have people interested in your practice. The key is getting the word out. If you get the word out enough, people will be interested because people are desperate for something different from the current health system. So we will be starting Tuesday, 8 weeks. The cost is $2,500. And at the end, you're going to have people on a waiting list ready to join your practice. So I think it's a way to compress time, I guess is what you could say. So you can do this on your own. Absolutely. You're a physician. You learned a lot of things. You got here by yourself already. But if you're ready to move ahead and you're ready to do this, this is the way to get from point A to point B with guidance and going in the right direction and doing it faster than you would alone. So that is what I've got going. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Let me put this, where'd it go? Let me put the link in the chat for our new patient guide. And then I'm also putting the link in there for the independent practice path so that if anyone wants to learn more, you can see it there. So, let's see. Okay, so here in the chat, that first one is that's our new patient kind of guide. So just take that and, just edit it for your own use. And then underneath it is the independent practice path. So, all right, if no one else has any questions, I'll let you go. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for all this.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's good to see you. I hope everything's going well. I think that you're doing well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Things are moving along.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. But the good thing is, because you don't have as many patients yet, this is your time to get out there, show your face. People don't know about it. You just need to get out there.
I do have one quick question.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get reviews from patients? What is your method? Do you maybe through Harmony Ops? You probably have something already through there, or how do you guys typically do it?
So before, when we were starting, we had Atlas at first. So after every patient encounter, what I would do, thank you, Alejandra, is I would send an email, like a summary email, just like the assessment and plan, say this is what we talked about, this is what we're going to do. And then at the bottom of that, I said something like, well, if you are pleased with your interaction? Are you pleased with your visit? The best way you can show is by referring other people, and the best way people can see us is by doing a review. And then if you go on Google, do you know how to get your review link on your Google profile, business profile?
I think so. Unless I'm talking about something different. I think so.
So you should be able to see Google business profile, and then you should be able to see there's a bunch of like icons like edit your profile. And do you see it? Do you see review?
I have read reviews. I might not be verified yet. Maybe that's why.
Yeah. So are they sending the postcard to you? Or was this under your previous practice?
Yeah, I had to kind of change it from my previous practice, so it's a little like they want to send stuff to like my old email that I don't have access anyway. So I got to do the whole weird video thing where I watch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing definitely I didn't say earlier, but if you're leaving an employed practice, employed position, as soon as you decide that you're leaving and you give your notice, then talk to whoever's in charge of that stuff and say, I need to have my profile, because it is yours.
So I did, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's open. You can just claim it. Like we don't actually even do anything." But I think the way that they want to verify it is sending something to like my old office.
Yeah,
it's just anyway.
Did they give you the postcard option, or maybe they don't do that anymore?
Oh, they did not give me a postcard, or maybe that's what it was. But they were gonna send it to my old office because like I already had. Yeah, so
I bet that's it. Yeah. Okay, so when you do get that, there should be under reviews, like there should be something that says ask for a review. Do you see anything like that?
I don't now, but...
Yeah. But there is a way to get a link directly from Google. So you can copy that link, paste it into your email, and then, or you can make a QR code out of it. Go to Canva, make a QR code so that when people leave your office, you can be like, hey, can you just do a review for us? And just have them scan on their phone. And so when they do, it takes them directly to Google. I'm pretty sure it doesn't make them log in. I'm not 100% sure though. But it'll take them directly to that, and then they can go ahead and write their review. So
I actually have a different one for the clinic itself that I made from scratch. So that one I do have. Yeah, I see that. Okay, ask for reviews. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So that's the link you use. Okay.
Yeah, so you can use that.
Well, it actually gives me a QR code too.
Oh, it does. Okay, good. Yeah, you can do that. I would say because you are where you used to work, you didn't go very far, correct?
No, I didn't move.
Yeah.
No. I mean,
Yeah.
Just on the other side.
I would probably try to get more of your reviews under your name.
Okay.
Because of that personal recognition. Dr. Keene.
Right.
People know that. As opposed to Planted, which I think is such a...
Right.
I love that name. But yeah, no one really knows that that's what it's called. So.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
All right. Well, thanks again, everyone, for coming. I appreciate it. Yep. Yeah. Did you ever get to talk to, what's her name?
I did. So, I did talk. She was interested in having a second provider. She was open for the partnership track, but the issue is like, doesn't have like any structure. She didn't come up with any structure or anything. So I think, conversations paused there. But I wasn't sure like what will be a good time to like follow up to, a week, 2 weeks.
I would go ahead and reach out, mainly because kind of like I said with the emails, like people just are so busy. I'd just go ahead and reach out, touch base with her.
A quick question in that point. To join as a partnership track, is there a structure for DPC or like defined structure, or how to like even understand the finances, if this is the right way to go?
So as far as a like set structure, every office is going to be different, just because you see one DPC, you've seen one DPC is what they say. So it'll be different for everyone, and it's hard to say because each contract will be different.
Because you mentioned that she already has a practice manager.
Nice.
So a lot of her initial costs, overhead, leave that.
Right.
Even if I join, more than 50 or 60% will go for the office and overheads and
like the partner will only carry less than 40% is what I understood. So I have no idea like whom to like, yeah, that's completely new information for me, how to understand the finances.
Right. I'd say 50% is fair. If you start hitting 70%, that's like employed practice overhead. So, yeah, I would.
I think I did not understand when you said 70%
Oh,
to
yeah.
give it the office as an overhead, and I'm carrying only 30% home, or
Well, if they tell you that their overhead is 70%, I would be very cautious about that. That's pretty high. That's like an employed practice kind of overhead, not a DPC practice. I mean, DPC practices, their overhead can be as low as 25%. So 70 is really high. And I think it's fair if you feel like you're going to be going in the partnership track to really ask to look at the finances and say, well, what is going towards this overhead? So, obviously there's going to be the salaries for the office manager and the MA, and then malpractice, rent, insurance on the building or whatever wherever you are, supplies. There's always something, there's so many different things. Yeah, I mean, 50% might be fair, but if you start looking at what the expenses are and you see things that don't make sense, I would ask about it. I would say, what exactly is this?
Yeah.
So, well, I gotta run. I'm sorry to cut this off. It's nice to see you.
So that was the Q&A session from last month, and I wanted to add a few things before you go. At the end of that recording, I was talking about a program called the Independent Practice Path, which is not available currently and might be coming back again this fall. I have replaced it with something that is action-oriented with more immediate results and a lot lower commitment. And it's probably better suited for where most pre-launch doctors and early stage DPC doctors actually are. Right now, I would point you towards the Harmony Ops social media sprint. It runs for 2 weeks, and this is what you get out of it. Your brand voice is documented, so AI can help you write captions that actually sound like you, a 2-week content calendar ready to schedule, and your DPC connector page called Is DPC Right for Me? That's a branded page to your practice. It educates patients about DPC and helps them run their numbers and then drives them to contact your practice directly. If you are pre-launch, then that page is how you start building a wait list before you even open your doors. You keep everything at the end. You keep the voice guide, the planner, all the posts, whether or not you continue with Harmony Ops. The cart is open now and closes on April 18th. The sprint will start on April 20th. After the sprint, there is a next step, which is called the DPC connector. That includes ongoing lead capture, email nurture sequences, and the CRM to organize the leads that come into you from the Is DPC Right for Me patient page. There's also an employer page included with the DPC connector. And that is coming soon, but the sprint is the starting point right now. The link to sign up for the social media sprint is in the episode notes. It's $99 and you get to keep the brand voice guide, the content planner, and the posts, whether or not you continue with Harmony Ops. Hope to see you on the inside for the social media sprint.
Thank you for listening to DPC Life. If today's conversation inspired you, hit follow, leave a review, and share it with a friend who's ready for change. Remember, wherever you are in the journey, your DPC family has your back. Until next time, keep building a practice and a life that truly fits you.